Ileka, how did you lose 120 pounds, have 4 kids, and still end up with flat abs? This is crazy. All right, so I get asked that all the time. Here are my 4 steps to flatter abs. Check this out. Hey guys, I'm Ileka. I'm a mom of 4 who lost 120 pounds through the ketogenic diet, intermittent fasting, and exercise, right? And I help other women do the same thing. And so in this video, though, I want to talk to you the way I talk to my clients. I want to give you the 4 tips on how to get flatter abs. Like, this is serious. Women, we struggle with this all the time. This is our main thing, right? We all want that 6-pack abs. We may not get the 6-pack, but we at least want a flatter stomach, right? It's something we always talk about. We want to shrink that waistline. We want to have a flatter abs, and we've been struggling with this for years, especially if we have kids, right? So some people are like, "Oh, it's hereditary. It's hereditary." I guess maybe it is, but not in my case, you know. That doesn't run. A small waist does not run in my family, or flat abs do not run in my family, right? So that's not the case, right? What is the case is work, the work that we put in, right? So some people say it's hereditary. I don't fully believe that. I don't buy into that 100%. I do believe you can work to get flatter abs. Now, some people talk about spot training. That is almost impossible, and I'll get to that, right? So let's get to it. What are my 4 steps, right? Step 1, you got to get rid of those refined carbs, right? Those processed carbs. So the sugars, the white breads, the white rice, all those kind of white super processed foods, the chips, all those things, you got to get rid of those. If you keep adding those in, those things cause inflammation, right? Sugar is like where inflammation lives. So we are constantly eating sugar, we're going to have that inflammation, and that's where the bloat comes from, and also that's where that excess fat comes from, right? We hold more fat when we're eating a lot of sugar. That's why you'll see people who do keto, you'll see them dropping the fat because they're constantly burning fat, right? If you're eating chips and a bunch of carbs, all you're burning is carbs. You're not really burning as much fat, and especially if you're eating a bunch of processed carbs, oh my gosh, I don't even want to get into it, right? Because that's not this video. That's going to be another video. But anyways, this video, I'm talking about abs, right? So what happens is you eat less processed foods, less carbs, less sugars, and that's going to be less inflammation, and it's also going to allow the body to burn the fats, right? If you're eating the higher fiber foods, that can still help, right? I'm not saying you have to be keto in order to have flat abs. That is not what I'm saying. Although it would help, right? But you can get flat abs by just getting rid of those processed foods, right? Those overly processed carbs. Because also there's people who do keto who don't have flat abs because they still eat a lot of processed foods. Processed foods no. Let's not do that, right? But then on top of that, let's get rid of the carbs, right? So that is step 1, getting rid of those processed carbs, but then processed foods overall, and all those white refined carbs, sugars, white bread. I mean, who's still eating Wonder Bread? I don't even know, right? But let's get rid of that. Do they even make Wonder Bread anymore? I'm not sure. Anyways, that's step 1. Get rid of that, right? Change the way you're eating. Change your relationship with food. Change the way you're looking at food, right? In that same conversation goes alcohol. I know. I like my glass of wine every so often too, right? But we can't do a whole ton of alcohol when we're trying to flatten our abs, right? I wasn't drinking wine every night. I would still have some on occasion, you know, maybe even once a week, right? Either a glass of wine. I love my Dry Farms wine. The link is in the description of this video. I love my Dry Farms wine, right? It's non-toxic, whatever. But either I'll have that, or, even on occasion some, vodka with some Zevia, something like that, right? It's okay on occasion, but remember, because it's still got, it's still not great, it's still inflammatory, so it's not going to help that situation here, right? So thinking about that, right? Step number 2. Now, I talk about this a lot, and people don't talk about it as much anymore. You got to keep your abs engaged at all times. So when I say keeping them engaged, right? So if I'm sitting down at my desk on a call with a client, or putting together meal plans or something, guess what I'm doing? my abs are engaged. I'm so serious. Like, they are always engaged. Like, I started doing this when I was younger, actually, because I saw it somewhere on TV one day, right? And people thought it was like a fluke. They thought it was crazy. But what it does is it keeps your core tight, right? It keeps it strong. It strengthens your core all the time because you're constantly keeping engaged in everything you do. So when you're walking around, guess what? Your core is engaged. Now that means it's working, right? So keeping your core engaged is going to be so important in this process. You got to keep that happening. So whether you're exercising, right? If I'm doing squats, guess what? My core is engaged. Guess what? Core is engaged, right? It's so important, right? Because what it's doing is it's ensuring that your core is being worked all the time. So we're not spot training. I actually don't do a whole ton of sit-ups or anything like that, right? It's not about spot training. It's about strengthening the core. If your core is strong, it's going to burn fat, right? If you keep a strong core, it's going to burn fat around that core. So you've got to keep it engaged at all times. So no matter what exercise you're doing, keep that core engaged during the exercise, right? No matter what it is. If you're doing squats, if you're doing, well, actually, and it's so good actually, because it's going to protect your back too. So if I'm doing, whether I'm doing squats or I'm doing bicep curls, I'm keeping my core engaged because that's going to protect my back as well, right? So that is tip number 2. Always keep it engaged. Tip number 3, right? Cardio. People don't realize that you've got to be burning fat everywhere, you know? So if you're getting that cardio in, your body's burning the fat all over. And when that happens, that is huge in helping with burning fat around the core as well. Cardio burns calories, muscle burns fat. So that's why we've got to keep lifting weights, right? Keeping our core engaged. Remember I said whether I'm doing bicep curls, squats, whatever I'm doing, my core is engaged. But when I'm doing cardio, it's engaged too. So now my body's working my core and it's burning the calories, right? Which is also burning fat. So that's step number 3. Get your cardio in. I would suggest 30 minutes a day. You know, if you can't do 30, at least do 20, right? Some people have to do up to 45. It's going to depend on your body makeup. And so that's why I always work with people on what their body makeup is and what makes sense for them. So that's number 3, cardio. Get that in. Tip number 4, right? Sweatband. So people sleep on this, right? And I'm not talking waist trainers. I'm not talking those things that like cut you off and all that stuff, right? I'm literally talking about something extra, just putting around the waist to help it sweat a little more. If you're getting a more heat in that area, it's going to sweat a little more and it's going to help to kind of burn some fat in that area a little more, right? So that is actually helpful. I wear my sweatband like 90% of the time when I'm working out, you know, and that helps me to sweat around there. And when I take that thing off, boom, it's like Sweatville, you know, and it's so helpful because now it's just going to burn more fat around my stomach. And I use one, I've actually had a link in the description for my Amazon store. I had the one that I use right in there under workout tools, and I also have in my Keto Mama makeover list. So check that out. I'm telling you, like, the sweatband is no joke. It's so helpful, and it's actually not that expensive. It's like $20-something, right? So it's not like the $90 ones. You can just get one from Amazon and it will work. So try the sweatband. Like, that's tip number 4. Get that sweat going around that waist to burn the fat around that waist, right? And a little bonus tip, as always, you know me, water. So, you know I got my water right here. Drink your water, stay hydrated. Staying hydrated is going to help in general, right? Whether you're spot training, no matter what you're doing, stay hydrated. Notice I didn't say sit-ups, right? Because sit-ups aren't necessarily as important. They're okay, but sometimes sit-ups can affect folks' backs, right? Planks are actually a better exercise when it comes to flattening the abs. So if you can start doing 30 seconds of planks every day, maybe twice a day, 30 seconds in the morning, 30 seconds at night, that'll help along with all the other tips of cardio, keeping the core engaged, lower carbs getting rid of refined carbs, right? And also the sweatband, right, around the waist. Like, keeping all those tips in mind and staying hydrated, that will help so much in flattening the abs, and you'll start seeing results big time. My clients have flatter abs. So that is a tip that I give. Those are tips that I give my clients. And those are little secrets that they have and that helps them to get their abs flatter, right? So if that's what you want, check me out. Let's keep talking. Let's keep the conversation going. And girl, you better get them flat abs. All right. So go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Keto Mommy Makeover. Check me out on LinkedIn. I'm at Ileka Falette on LinkedIn, and check me out on Clubhouse. You can go to Keto Mommy or just put in Ileka Falette on Clubhouse and you can check me out there. I run rooms. I host rooms on keto. I host rooms on mommy life. I host rooms on entrepreneurship, right? And also, just a little teaser, I'm also helping keto coaches increase their paycheck as well. So if you've lost weight on keto already and you're looking to become a keto coach and you want to kind of see how that works and get it all done, let's chat about it. Let's see how we can make this work for you, because I want everybody to win. That's how I am. Everybody can win. All right. So I'll check you later. Let's get this thing going. All right. Take care.
Don't forget to subscribe. Be sure to watch my mom's next video.
Oh, okay.